Okay, I'm gonna make some people mad with this one. Roll the intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, my name's StepsBasic, and welcome back to my community show. That's a good one. I didn't know that was crazy. Had the hand movements and everything. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that's not what's important. What's important is today's topic. But first, as always, announcements. Well, only one real announcement that I have to worry about today is that I'm not doing the mental health awareness stuff until next week, because I forgot that this week was going to be the PlayStation Plus highlight stuff, and I wanted to get that out of the way. And next week I'm going to have the special gaming video and my my talk about mental health awareness and stuff. Personally, my own personal stuff. But anyway, not important. On with the show. That's the only announcement I have. Right? Yes. Okay. That's the only announcement I have. So today, our topic, a little controversial. I know. I've talked about some controversial topics in the past, and to be perfectly honest, this one doesn't feel like it should be a controversy. It kind of upsets me in a way. We're talking easy mode. Now, first of all, when you think about it, easy mode in video games is an option. It's a choice. So in my opinion, there's just no point to arguing against it. Now, of course, there are some games that do not have easy modes. And there are some games which lock content behind a difficulty setting. And we've all played games like that. Well, I don't know, actually. I think they kind of stopped doing that, but it used to be back in the day. You play through a game on easy mode and like, well, come back on hard. Come back when you've proven yourself. And so you would never get the full content unless you played through on higher and higher difficulty levels, to the point where in the end you would have to play through on hard mode just to get the full, complete, total ending. And I hated those games. And I hated that concept. And truth be told, I'm not one of those that feel like everyone deserves everything. Now, there's the argument, and I understand very much the argument that if you pay for it, you should be able to fully enjoy it. I understand that. I actually kind of agree with that. But at the same time, I also feel like if you're not willing to put forth the effort to, learn and grow, then you're not going to learn and grow. You're not going to, you don't really deserve it. It's why I hate the whole pay to win thing. When you're playing a game and you're working through it the hard way while other people are chucking dollars at it and getting some of the most epic loots possible. Like, I think it was Last of Us. A friend of mine told me Last of Us multiplayer, you could buy the combat shotgun, which was significantly overpowered compared to anything else, and otherwise you had to earn it. Nah, I'm not even sure if you can earn it, to be honest, because I never played the online, except for like once or twice, but it's not important. So when you see that whole pay to win thing, it kind of defeats the purpose. Now, that applies very much to free to play games, whereas if you pay a full $60 price tag for a big name title, then you're like, I paid all the money for this, now I should be able to fully enjoy and experience this game. And then you find out the game's a bit too difficult for you, and you're like, oh my god, this game sucks. Why did I spend so much money on it? But this is where my idea of what constitutes the controversy comes into play. I've been playing games since, NES era, but I've played on Atari. And I have played games, and I've seen gaming evolve throughout the years. And for anyone who knows what the term evolve means, it means to change over time. A change that takes place over time. And I've seen it evolve. If such a term existed, I would say it devolved in a lot of ways. And one of those is the difficulty. Now, of course, the rule being there's no such thing as hard games anymore. Now, of course, as we all know, there are exceptions to certain rules, and I will get to that in a moment. But these days, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a hard game. Now, we can set ourselves challenges, like my friend Bubble Ninja, who's playing through The Evil Within, an otherwise fairly simple game. He's playing through it with no upgrades, i.e. his character is the base character. No strengths, no added strengths by the end of the game. Whereas if you play through it normally and upgrade your character regularly and appropriately, by the end of the game, everything's just kind of a pushover. And he's playing through it on what I would constitute a fairly difficult mode because he chooses not to upgrade himself. And that, in its own way, I would say constitutes a difficulty spike. But otherwise, if you play the game normally, even on hard mode, it's just a matter of knowing what to do and where to go. And games like The Evil Within, they have, I forget what it was called, but the DLC had the pitch black mode. I forget what the actual title was, where literally you're running around in the dark, as opposed to the regular mode, which is you're running around the game itself. And I like that. I like having the option to do stuff like that. And I think that if the game is going to implement a difficulty system, then there is no reason to say that they cannot have an easy mode. Just as there is no reason to say they can't have a nightmarishly hard mode. Now, I don't think that the story should be locked behind difficulty modes, because that's just frustrating and demoralizing to folks who have played through the game on normal mode and struggled. And then they get to the end of it and they're like, oh, well, sorry, you got to come back in hard mode. And like, bye, game. I don't think that. Now, I do agree that there should be some reward for playing on a harder difficulty. And I will point directly to the new iteration of Resident Evil for this. They put some uber powerful weapons locked behind playing on nightmare mode, playing on hard mode, hardcore mode. And if you want to play through it on the hardcore mode and beat it, then you should be rewarded because you put forth the extra effort. I don't think you should earn these weapons on easy mode because honestly, you don't deserve them. Now, this raises the question of games that do not have difficulty settings. Should they be allowed to have a easy mode? And I think the latest thing that brought this to everyone's attention was Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. Have not played it myself. Really would love to because it looks freaking awesome. And previously, it was Cuphead that brought this to everyone's attention. Here's the thing. I don't care. But StepsBasic, you're making a video about how do you not say that and you don't care? Well, when I say I don't care, it's not that I don't care about the topic. I understand. I don't care in so much as I don't care if you give people the option to do easy mode. It's a good idea because it helps people get into the game. It helps people accept gaming as it is. Now, I know. I hate the get good mentality, the whole get good culture where you got these kids out there saying, well, you just died so many times in Bloodborne, well, get good, scrub. And I'm like, well, no. And I hate that mentality. I don't mind people taking pride in the fact that they are good at a game. It's good, good job. I'm so proud of you for that. And you should be proud of yourself for accomplishments and achievements and whatnot. Ultimately, these achievements in games do not matter, obviously. But at the same time, what does it matter to you? If you can beat the game on hard mode and this guy cannot get past normal mode, what's it bother you? How does it bother you? Why does it bother you? Because you still beat it on the harder mode. Now that's where the whole reward system comes in. Where I like what Resident Evil did when they put in reward system to it. Because that is an argument I also understand. Well, I get everything on hardcore mode, but they also get everything on easy mode. But do they really? First of all, if you like hardcore mode, if you like hard mode, insanity mode, nightmare mode, whatever you want to call it, if you like playing it on that because that's the only way you really feel challenged in a game, then you have a sense of accomplishment that the person who played on easy mode will not have. They will have the, oh, I beat the game accomplishment. You will have the, oh, I beat the game accomplishment. Now, I know you have nothing to show. You don't have anything like, look, this wound right here on my hand, I got this from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice on hardcore mode. And they don't, so to speak. So that's the thing that I find an issue with. That, yeah, you have the sense of accomplishment that they will never have. Now, if we're going to talk about cheating, I very much am totally against the idea of cheating a game. Asterisk. That asterisk comes into play when I say, cheat the game all you want. I will not respect you, and I will not respect your achievement, because it's not an achievement. However, if you do as I do, i.e. you play the game through normally, and then you cheat the game at the end, or after you beat the game, I don't care, because you've already beat the game. Good, you got the accomplishment. Good for you. Alright, so all that aside, my take on this whole thing is there is literally no such thing as a hard game these days. Well, figuratively, there is no... Specifically, the rule is that there is no such thing as a hard game these days. Now, I know I got the people in my comment section saying, hey, what about this game? Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. No. See, I have played through The Surge. I have played parts of Bloodborne. I have played Dark Souls. I have played Cuphead. I have played Alien Isolation. And these ones are arguably the hardest games in existence at the moment. I have not played Sekiro, but it really looks good and I want to play it. But in so much as the rule is there's no such thing as a hard game these days, there are exceptions to the rules. And the only two exceptions I will give you are Cuphead and Alien Isolation. Bloodborne fans, Demon Souls fans, Soulsborne fans, I'm sorry, your games are not hard. They are unforgiving. They are very much unforgiving, and I will give you that. But that's not the same thing as hard. You have to learn the pattern, which means you will die a number of times learning the pattern. You may end up being thoroughly successful and winning a lot of times and never actually pick up the pattern. And that, in my opinion, does not make it a hard game. Now, like I've said, I played games for a long time now. And I have played so many games that would constitute hard that they kind of, make all of your games, all of your Soulsborne games from software. You do amazing games. I love them, and I love the tactics behind them. However, they're not hard to me. They're all about just learning the routine, learning the pattern. And moreover, at least with Bloodborne, it's not even about learning the pattern of the bosses. It's about learning your character's abilities. In Bloodborne, if you know your character's abilities, then the pattern of the boss becomes almost inconsequential. The Surge was a little bit different in that the bosses actually had mechanics to them. And maybe there are more in Dark Souls, but haven't played through all of them. And maybe there are bosses with mechanics in Dark Souls that make them impossible to defeat. However, you learn the pattern and it's easy. Literally, the bosses become just a longer version of the regular fights. You make one mistake and you're dead. That doesn't constitute difficult for me. That constitutes me making a mistake. Now, I have mentioned that Cuphead and Alien Isolation are hard games, in my opinion. So let's start with Cuphead. Cuphead very much is reminiscent of the old style of games that I played when I was younger, i.e., Mega Man, Double Dragon, basically any like run and gun type of game, Contra, etc., except for one thing. Now, I could play through Mega Man where I play to a certain point and I die, I start over at that point, and I keep going. Cuphead does not have that. Cuphead does not have the checkpoint system that things like Mega Man and Mario and whatnot had back in the day. Though Cuphead does have an infinite lives thing, i.e., back in the day, you play Mario, you start off with 3 lives, you can gain more throughout, but you start off with 3 lives, and if you die, if you lose all your lives, you're going all the way back to World 1-1, buddy. You don't get a save point. You don't get to load from the last checkpoint. No, you're going all the way back. And with that, it makes Cuphead slightly easier. Sure, you have to repeat the level every single time you try it. There's no such thing as a checkpoint. You have to go all the way back to the beginning each time you try it. That, in a way, makes it a little bit easier. However, because of that, it is what I would consider a hard game, because you have to put in the work. You cannot shortcut. Alien Isolation, in my opinion, was a hard game because not only was there the varying difficulties, but there was the voice aspect, which you can turn off. You can opt out of it. But it also felt like the alien had no set pattern to it. Every time I would get caught, the alien would change its pattern, and I wouldn't be able to formulate a full plan around it. And that, plus any noises, would draw it out of whatever pattern it was in, and it would reset the pattern completely. And so, yeah. Again, it had save points, and it had the ability to save, autosave. So in that aspect, it lacked what a lot of the old school gaming had, but it still made for a difficulty spike in that it did not seem to have a set parameter for when the alien would find you. So, learning all you wanted about the game, you would still be subject to a certain degree of chaos. Now, in the end, difficulty is very subjective, which is why I can clearly state that the Soulsborne series are not hard. They're just about learning patterns. They're just about learning your abilities. And yes, if you mess up, you die. Not a hard type of game. I'm sorry. But other people might find it to be a bit difficult, especially if they don't know how to learn their characters, if they don't know how to play games, if they've only played first-person shooters their entire life. They may go to a Bloodborne game and be completely lost because it is a completely different play style than what they're used to. With those games, I don't see a point in adding an easy mode because there's literally no, like I said, point to it. It's not hard. Just learn the pattern, learn the maneuvers, learn the skills, and you're fine. People are going to complain. They always do. But at the same time, if it's optional, then there's no point in saying no. One of the things I remember was Assassin's Creed Origins was talking about, and probably released it by now, the tourist mode, essentially, which turned off all bad guys and just let you wander around Egypt without having to worry about getting bothered by people. A completely optional mode, but people still pitched a fit about it. And I don't understand it. If it's optional, why are you complaining? You don't have to use it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on the whole easy mode controversy nowadays. And difficulty is very subjective. That's the TLDR version of what you just watched. A good 20 minutes of me rambling about this stuff. But anyway, let me know down in the comments. Rage at me all you want for the easy mode controversy. I can take it, don't worry. But yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on this if you'd like to share them. All things told, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of StepsBasic Gaming Community Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go and poke that like button for me. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and of course, like I said, leave comments down in the comment section down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, when I can, if I can, you know all that jazz, and tune in next time for another topic at another time. We'll do Mental Health Awareness Month next month, and until then,